First, welcome to our little chat. My name is Romuald Afatchao, and I'm a co-founder of ICPSD.
And I'm Marshall McMillan. I'm a recent graduate of International Studies and just starting a job in IT. So I'm excited to be here today.
Marshall, thank you for joining us for today's chat.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited because Marshall and I, go back basically.
Yeah, I started my time at ICPSD. Wait a bit. Okay.
So I'm pretty excited to have Marshall here today because Marshall and I actually knew each other back in the
2018.
18, yeah?
Yeah.
2018. So will you please tell us a little bit about how you heard about the Experiential Learning Program with ICPSD?
Yeah, of course. So I first found out in high school. I believe it was my sophomore year in high school is when I first found out. Mm-hmm. And I went like that summer with my French teacher and a couple of other high school students at Moscow High School. We only went for a short period of time, for about 10 days, but it was a really great first taste of Togo, and I learned a lot of French and a lot about the Togolese culture there. But I knew I wanted to go back again and do more, and so and kind of work more with ICPSD because I just fell in love with the country and the people there. So yeah.
For contest purpose, we've been trying to launch the Experiential Learning Program for a while, and then in 2018, we approached the high school here in town, and then we talked with the French professor who's also in charge of environmental club. Mm-hmm. So we came up with this program, and then we wanted to just do the first try and see how things will go. And we were very lucky that the program went really well. I happened to be in country at the time when the crew came, and it was a fun time. It was a fun time. So if you don't mind, maybe highlighting one or two things that you basically stood out for you, while you were in Togo participating in the Experiential Learning Program in Noche.
Yeah, in Noche, the big thing that stood out to me was the youth, and because there's a lot of them that like to just be around ICPSD and hang out at the office and just kind of connecting with the youth there. That was just a major highlight. Learning famous Togolese songs, pop songs during those days. And then really, one of my most memorable times was working in the nursery. I really, really loved working in the nursery, and just seeing the first seedlings and just kind of the base, and also just the well was just getting installed at that time, and so it was really, really cool to kind of see the beginnings of this huge project for ICPSD.
Wow, yeah, thank you. I remember that. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And as you all know, for those who have been following us for a while, we try to get our youth in Togo involved in our nursery and our ecosystem restoration programs. So as such, when we bring folks from here, especially the youth from here, to go to Togo and experience what we're trying to do and network and partner with the youth over there, the goal behind this is basically to create this sort of a synergy between the two groups so that they could work on the hands-on project, right? Mm-hmm. I remember one of the main project you guys work on was the garden. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think what we really started was just creating mounds. It was just us. It was our about 4 high school students, and then there was a handful of the Togolese ICPSD youth, and we were trying to just get the mounds ready for planting, which is to go from, I think we were going to plant mangoes or some kind of fruit or crop, so that the local youth could and locals could just eat and have some fresh fruit available instead of going to Lome for fresh stuff. And so we were really our team was to just get these mounds in line for planting, and it was cool to see I'm about spoiling a little beforehand, but I did come back, and it was cool to see how far the nursery has grown too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was a lot of our work, was just working on those mounds, and then also I know we also went to the orphanage with the high school students, and that was really cool to cool to do.
And I remember when you guys were in town, as I said, I was in town before you guys came, and I was in town with a group of U of I students.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the connection also over there?
Yeah, that was really interesting because I don't think I was quite ready to meet college students I don't know, that were also working with like ICPSD and working with other nonprofits in Togo and around Noche. But it was really cool to see like what they've done and just like kind of how they've had fun with like a lot of the ICPSD youth. I know they played like a lot of games and like I don't know, I remember playing soccer with the college students and the youth. It was just, and basketball. They were really, the ICPSD youth were very, very good at basketball, and that was a lot of fun to play with like the college students and us. I just remember having a blast.
It was
in my time there.
for sure. It was a fun summer. I also remember that at the time you guys had to experience also some sort of a touristy part of Togo. Can you talk about how all that stuff came together and how that fit into the experiential program?
Yeah, so I think the two main touristy things I remember doing was going to Palime, which was a city, I think, like, 2 hours?
North?
Yeah, 2 hours away from Noche. And we went with ICPSD youth. We were so happy that they came. And we were, like, it was kind of like a little road trip. I remember, like, singing Christmas songs with them. But yeah, we went to Palime and which is a very different, like, part of Togo. It's a much more lush and, we got to see like a presidential like castle from the 60s that's kind of been like abandoned. That's
from the 40s.
From the 40s, yeah, sorry. But yeah, it was just really cool to see like kind of like a lot of the history behind Togo and then also see a different like area. It was just way more green and just a lot more fresh fruit and like fresh agricultural products. But it was just, we went to a waterfall with the local youth and went swimming. It was just, I remember doing those kinds of touristy things and then going to Lome and going to the Grand Supermarché, which was crazy because as like a U.S., I don't know, it was just very different like than how markets are set up in the U.S., at least for me.
You know, whenever we run the experiential learning program, I always remember this saying by one of our former students who was a part of the program that I ran to Togo through the university. Bethany Lowe, she's from New Zealand, and she was a part of the 2012 program.
Oh, the first one.
First ever crew to go to Togo, and I always remember something she said. And she said this not in Togo, but while we were in Ghana doing sort of a service trip, and she said the work we do coming there as a youth, the work we do, and then anybody could do it.
Yeah.
And she said anybody could do it, but at the end of the day, it's about the people and the connection.
Yes.
What do you think about that saying?
I really agree with that statement. Just because of just like connecting and having those experiences, I still chat with those people that I met in Togo in 2018 pretty regularly, and it just really holds like a soft spot in my heart. The friends I made. Along on that trip, it was I don't know, they just always will hold
you were one fun guy and easy going, so it was easy for you to make friends and all that stuff. So can you talk to us a little bit about it, why you decided to go back last year as a college student, senior in college, and you decided to go back and to do the experience again. Why did you make the decision?
I really wanted to get nonprofit experience and working in the development world, and I think there was no better place to go than Togo with ICPSD, and I just really wanted to go back because I felt like I just dipped my toes in the water that first time in 2018, and I wanted to get more in-depth experience, and so that was kind of my reasoning, and I also needed to study abroad for my degree, and I just thought it was all in one. It was like 3 birds, 1 stone. So that's kind of was my reasoning for going to Togo this last summer.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience this time around?
Yeah, my experience this time around was definitely, like I said, I was there. I haven't even said this, but I was there for 2 months roughly, and it was just. I spent my first half in Lome, but I spent my second half really in Noche, really with connecting with the ICPSD youth, which is a different youth, but I still met a lot of my friends from 2018. I still had all their WhatsApp, and so they would come by the ICPSD office while I was working. But really, the kind of activities I did was help row, find computers that would be suitable for the computer lab that we were setting up, which was a lot of fun. just that whole process is very different than the United States. Like, you know, you have to get the tables, you have to get all the chairs. I just remember
You have to get them made.
you have to get them made. It wasn't just going and getting tables. You had to get the tables and chairs made. So it was a step-by-step process that was slow, but also like I learned a lot. I soaked up a lot of knowledge, it felt like. And this time around, I really wanted to learn Eve and more French. And so that was a lot of fun, chatting with the youth and like hear what songs they're learning about in English. And then they're like, oh, like what songs do you know in Eve? And just kind of like, you know, talking about that both. I this time around, I just felt like I don't know. I had more time to enjoy a lot of more things.
I know, and I know you participated in the nursery activities again, and then you were part of the outplanting as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
That was also a fun process. So Done works for ICPSD, and him and I, the night before, we had to basically get everything ready for the outplanting site the next day, where we were gonna get all the youth and plant roughly like 2,000 trees, I believe, on the outplanting sites. And so we had to get all the stakes, we had to get all the supplies ready, and then we had to talk to all the local vendors about getting the trucks to move all the seedlings. And so it was just getting everything ready. And then the day of, it was just, I don't know, it was a lot of like hard sweat, like labor work, but it was so enjoyable at the end because it's like I could see like, oh, this could become like a forest someday, because when we went to the outplanting sites, I remember you pointing out just like, oh, here are the trees that we planted 3 or 4 years ago, here are the trees that we planted last year. And so it was really cool to just imagine like, this is all part of like a eventual like forest that ICPSD is helping create.
Yeah, thank you so much. So one thing, as I said earlier, one thing we're trying to do really with our youth leadership program is to get them engaged and involved in the experiential learning. So the experiential learning is geared towards folks from abroad who will come to Togo, and then mingle with the youth, mingle with our staff, and then work with them on the hands-on projects and stuff like it, and things like that. So we were at that first experience in 2018 with the group of high school that we were part of, high school students that we were part of, was gonna continue, right?
Right.
And then we were getting ready to basically release a website basically.
Right.
That was gonna just promote this program across, so that any school, any schools anywhere in the world could decide to come as a group, or any group of workers, right, could come as a team building experience to come and then do their work. It could be church group, it could be any other group that could come. Beyond that, we also wanted to have like to be an experience for individuals who wanted to go and experience it as individuals too, right? So you don't have to be a part of a group, because what we are trying to do at the end of the day is to make sure that people come and experience what we are doing back home, experience the ecosystem restoration work that we are doing, and then help also not only with that ecosystem restoration work, but also help with the youth leadership. Basically, we are trying to basically cultivate this leadership quality, right, among the youth in the area. And you guys being a part of that has been very exciting, because at the university, for example, I know as a University of Idaho student, you know that we have some of those programs at the university. So for folks over there to see how different we do things, it's also enriching to them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is really enriching, and I think it goes both ways. It's really enriching for like us students when we go there and see how like how things are done differently there, and how people are living, and just like also just like how society is running. There's a lot of bizarre things to me, like I think like this most recent time in Togo that I learned about, but it's also really cool to know about like the native culture. I remember there was a story you told me a while ago about when you were trying to find the well with the water, and like you were digging and using like really high-tech stuff, and then you couldn't find anything, and a native old man helped you find it with an egg and looking through the sun, and just where the yolk dropped, and that's where the water was.
It was fascinating to us.
Yeah.
And we found water.
And you found water. That's what's great. That is what's great.
That's why over in ICPSD, at ICPSD, we always say that we wanted to mix science, modern knowledge and then the traditional knowledge, because sometimes folks who know the area best, they actually know how things work better in the area. So we should not dismiss those and then only focus on the modernity and other stuff like that. So
Yeah.
So is there anything else you would like to add to this conversation, maybe? Or
I think one thing that's really like struck me is just like how ICPSD has impacted me, both like professionally, like when like finding jobs, but also just like I feel like it's helped me prepare like a lot and grow as a human being. I feel like more confident in like my abilities when talking with people, because I traveled abroad. I can speak a bit of a foreign language, and so it's really helped me with that. And professionally, like saying that I had this internship at a nonprofit in West Africa doing agroforestry is also just really beneficial, and I love talking about it. So
Good.
just want to say thank you for allowing me to do that today.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for us. I know, you're one of our favorites. I always say this really. People, even if I just came back from Togo, right? People will always ask me, have you heard from Marshall? When is Marshall coming back? I'm like, Marshall is looking for a job right now. And I'm sure that Marshall will come back soon.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure. And I told them, you wanted to come back with your better half. And,
Yes,
so
yes, I do need to go back. Yeah.
And you have a sort of an open invitation for
Yeah.
as long as you can pay your own way there,
Right,
you
exactly.
will have a place to live,
Yeah.
and you always welcome back into.
It's just so heartwarming, and you're not alone. There's so many people offered. Yeah, that's just the people of Togo just hold a special place in my heart. I swear.
Yeah. So as I was saying, so we started the program in 2018, right? And then COVID happened. Then we didn't launch it like we were gonna do it, right? So our hope is in the next few months we will roll it out again. And now post COVID, so we'll roll it out for anyone out there, any group out there, or any individual out there that wanted to be a part of it,
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited, and then for me it's a passion to share things about my community, to bring people over there and try to connect my two communities as well. I've been living in Moscow, Idaho for 22 years now, and then and I don't know where I belong, but I know that I belong to both communities.
Yeah.
I was, as I was leaving, I remember when I was departing Moscow for Togo, I'm like, I was going home. And then as I was departing Togo to come back here, I'm like, I'm going home.
Yeah.
So
you got two
that's
homes.
how it is, 2 homes. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited
Yeah.
that, folks in my community here are very supportive of the things that we do. And folks like you are passionate about what we do there, and are always willing to support us. So thank you so much for your involvement, your engagement, and then thank you for your support over the years, and we love you.
Of course. I love you guys too. I love ICPSD.
All right.